What's going on, everyone? So the last few days, there's been a lot of talk about Ben Simmons and his health and how he's, making real advancements and he's better than he's ever been before. And we got Ben Simmons' trainer that basically backed it up and said Ben Simmons is going to be better than he's ever been, right? So trainer Chris Brickley says Ben Simmons is now better than he was during his all-star seasons. Ben is healthy, moving very well. He is better now than his all-star seasons. I've never co-signed a player that didn't prove it when their season started. Trust me on this one. Ben Simmons, 28, last averaged 6 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, 5.7 assists per game on 58.1% field goal percentage in 23.9 minutes per game in 15 games played for Brooklyn in 2023-2024. Now, again, Ben Simmons, last 3 years, has played like 40 games total, right? Missed the whole season from just the holdout, and then also he had the injury, and then, he's just hasn't been able to get out of his own way, is really what it is, right? He's been a headache, but he's going into a contract year, right? And if he wants to continue making the bags that he's making, no one's going to pay him. He could this season go and average 30, 20, and 20, and I still don't think anyone would give him a max contract. Because the concern would be, as soon as we pay him, that's it. Right? Like, he's going to go right back. Right? He's making $40 million this year. He better enjoy that contract. I would be shocked if somebody pays him more than like $10 million tops. Only because he'd be under 30. And if he does have a really good season, then I think I could see somebody throwing some money at him. But in reality, I don't, like, unless he can get back to being, that all-star level guy, which, look, Ben Simmons was looked at as top 10, top 15 guy a couple years ago, right? This was a guy that was looked at as, like, your corner, like, every team in the league would have taken him as like a starter to build your franchise around. Got the LeBron comparisons, everything. I mean, this was a guy that was nearly a triple-double every night. At his peak, this guy was like a 16, 8, and 8 guy. Right? And he still, I believe, can be that. Right? His defensive versatility, his size. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has the size of centers in today's NBA. I mean, he's 6'10", 240. That's most of the centers in the NBA. But plays like a guard. Handle the ball like a point guard. Right? Make the plays, make the passes, rebound the basketball, defend essentially 1 through 5. I mean, this guy is a guy that could be a real piece. And I do think in the right team, in the right situation, right, in the right role, if he's bought in and engaged and willing to do what is asked, I really do think that this guy could be a real difference maker for a team. Genuinely. Obviously, he's not a three-point shooter. This guy, like, never takes threes to save his life. But, most big men know, right? Like, to me, you could operate him as, a power forward, small ball center, whatever, however you want to approach it, right? Like, Ben Simmons, I do think, is still incredibly valuable. I still think he's a guy that, could go and get you a near triple-double on a nightly basis. But can he get out of his own way? Again, he's a guy that last 3 years he's been a disaster. He's just been a headache. He's played 57 games in the last 3 years. Since 2021, he's played 57 games. He played 58 games the year before that. Right? And this is a guy that already wasn't like a crazy model of health. Right? He didn't play his rookie season, and then he played 81 games, which is great, 79 games, which is great. And then after year 2, it was 50 games or less. 57 games, 58 games, didn't play at all, 42 games, 15 games. Again, this is a guy that was 16, 8, and 8, gave you 2 steals, a block, could handle the basketball, go get you, but even without being able to shoot, he still was a guy that go get you, 16 a night, right? Because he's just such a mismatch, such an advantage. And, yes, he's probably never going to be a shooter. I mean, he literally is afraid to shoot. it would be nice to see that change, right? Like if I was a trainer, I'd be trying to get him like anything, right? Like no one's asking Ben Simmons to shoot 40% from three. No one's expecting Ben Simmons to be a light, turn into Steph Curry or something like that. But could he just at least be serviceable? Right? Like league average, I think was like 36% last season off the top of my head. If he could be even like 34% from 3-point range, right? Like that would be fantastic. I mean, yeah, I know it's not great, but to go from basically 0% to 34% would be huge, right? Like, and the thing that's crazy is he doesn't have like this horrendous looking shot. And like during practices and stuff, he's actually been really good. Like he's been like, he looks like a real shooter, when you see it. But there's a big difference between like shoot around and through the flow of a game. And now you got hands in your face. You got all this pressure. Like there's a big difference, right? But again, if he can shoot, say 40%, 45% and shoot around, tell him he can't shoot 32, 34%, right? Which, if he's playing that like point forward role, isn't that harmful? I don't think is that big of a deal, right? Like it's understanding him as a player, it's understanding him and the advantages that he could have, right? I do think, again, on the right team, in the right situation, he could make a lot of sense. His versatility, to be able to put him at the point guard, to put him at the center spot at times if you wanted to, right? To put him at the 4 and have him in that like Draymond style role, right? Where he's just defending and kind of being that versatile defender as well as being able to make plays out of the post and score around the rim and stuff. Like, I do think that there are several teams that would take a flyer on him. Again, the days of him getting $40 million a year, those are gone. That's not happening. No one's gonna give him that. But I could see if he gets out of his own way, right? He gets himself together. I could see Ben Simmons maybe next season, because he'd get more than a vet minimum. I could see him, let's say at worst, say a taxpayer mid-level. Say he signs a 1 year, like, $6 million deal or whatever. I think it's like $5.6 million, whatever, right? If he's great again, I could see a team giving him 15 to 20 million. Right? Like, if he proves, like, hey, my contract year, I was really good, did all these things. Right? And it's so unfortunate, too. He's blown so many opportunities. Right? Like, if he would have gotten back to the Philly Ben Simmons after he was traded to the Nets, the Nets might have won a championship. Right? I mean, they had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, you would have Ben Simmons. Like, Ben Simmons was like everything that Brooklyn team needed. That versatile defensive piece that can make plays and make sure Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving don't like stumble over each other. Right? Like, Brooklyn would have potentially been a problem, like a real problem if Ben Simmons would have just gotten out of his own way, played the game of basketball, took it serious, right? Like this guy's it's the pettiness, right? I understand injuries, I understand all that, but it's the pettiness that he's just displayed. But he's so talented that, again, teams would probably look past it. Teams would probably ignore it in favor of Ben Simmons because he's so gifted, because he's so talented. And look, I'm rooting for him. I'd like to see him have, like, Ben Simmons was a fun player to watch, man. One of the few guys that could just grab the ball off the rim and just head the other way and just put on a show, right? Like, especially at 6'10", his ability to play the point, like, that's such an advantage. His size, his strength, his abilities, like, it's just, he's a guy that, again, can really make an impact on the right team in the right situation. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Again, trust the trainer, I guess. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you buy it? Do you buy that, like, he's really better than, the all-star version of Ben Simmons? Or do you think, like, nah, like, come on, he's just talking. He's just trying to back up. Because, I mean, look, the guy put his name on the line. He said, I've never talked about somebody like... So, I mean, he's putting his name out. He's putting his neck out there for Ben Simmons, right? Which Ben Simmons, I mean, you could argue he's the wrong guy to do that for, just based on the last few years. But if he can, again, if Ben Simmons can get there, dude, that guy has all the talent in the world. Do you agree with that? Do you think, like, yeah, if he can get out of his own way, kind of get back into the Ben Simmons we saw in Philly before the whole blow up, yeah, this guy is a guy that can really cause some problems and be a real issue in this league for people. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.